This is honestly the hardest video I've ever had to make in my life.
And I would believe it if it was actually true. Alright, this is probably going to be the most parasocial video I ever make, but I don't care. KSI has left the Sidemen and something doesn't exactly line up. So this all started on Sunday, May 31st, when KSI dropped a video on YouTube titled, "I'm leaving the Sidemen." So to be honest with you, I didn't even watch this video when it came out because I thought it was a forfeit. Arsenal had just lost the Champions League, and so I was like, okay, well, they've done this clickbait thing a jillion times, and it seems a little odd, but the timing of it, again, his favorite team just lost the Champions League, so it doesn't seem like there's much to it. The Sidemen then dropped a short and strange statement themselves on their Instagram the same day, and again, I wasn't really thinking much because I'm thinking this is just a forfeit, and it's all very, very weird the way this is going down. But let's talk about the video, okay? So I finally watched it, and the vibes in it were pretty off. It didn't really make sense to me that this is how KSI's departure would be going down, but I wanted to hear him out in his video. Basically, he said that he's being pulled in all sorts of different directions and has been for many years, and that it has been increasingly difficult for him to see his family and his partner. He then talked about the Sidemen as a whole and what they've accomplished, and then individual messages to each member. Now, I can't lie, in terms of his original reason for leaving, wanted to spend more time with people he loves and focus on that work-life balance, that's valid, and I would believe it if it was actually true. See, KSI has absolutely been pumping content on his own channel, and I think he has seen the success that that has brought. Not to mention he's been doing Britain's Got Talent, Baller League, even is a minority owner in a football club, amongst all of the other things that he does. He might get back into music soon, like there are so many things that this man does, and doesn't really seem like he's going to take a step back from that. The truth is, it seems like he just wanted to cut out the Sidemen aspect of his life to make room for all the others. But whatever, maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully he finds that work-life balance, but what really got me is, why am I seeing these immensely personal messages in a YouTube video? These are conversations and things that you should be saying to the Sidemen members themselves. I don't need to see it, I know fans are nosy, but I'm not that parasocial. But why did these conversations not happen privately? Like, I don't know why it's being reiterated maybe in a YouTube video or just for the world to see, when these are fairly personal things and feelings and emotions that probably should be conveyed to the people themselves. Finally, the last major vibe I got from this video was about KSI's ego, but we can go into that later on in the video after I go through things that have happened. So KSI's video was weird, and again, like me, most people thought it was a forfeit, but then the Sidemen dropped their official response. "We're sad to share the news that JJ has decided not to continue as part of the Sidemen. We had an amazing time on this journey with him, and we wish him all the best with his future endeavors. We're still committed to creating the best content, events, and shows that we can for you all. This came as a surprise to us, and we know it will be an adjustment for you, but we've got lots of exciting stuff planned that we can't wait to share." Pretty much as PR trained a response that you can probably give. What is interesting though is they say in the last paragraph, "This came as a surprise to us." And so, again, I'm going to assume that this was not oh, he dropped the video, we just found out, right? I'm going to assume they had a little bit of foresight. That being said though, it could have just been like a week before, you know, where they were told, and it's still very fresh and new. Like, why is this happening? There wasn't much prep time, which is pretty clear in the fact that all of this is going down the way it is, but again, we'll get into that. So it had been a few days, and then KSI releases another post on Instagram where he basically says this is real, and some more thoughts for us to break down. "I know this news has been hard to deal with. I know that some people don't want to believe it, but it's real." So again, in this moment, people like me who kind of doubted it and thought it was a forfeit at first are now seeing that no, it is confirmed, this is real. See, again, this is what gets me though, right? This Instagram post, this is what gets me. Now let me speak directly to the boys. Why? Why am I seeing this as someone in the public or whatnot? Why are you not speaking directly to the boys via a phone call or a group message or whatever versus the millions of followers on your Instagram? I know you're all grieving in your own way because of my decision, but you knew it was coming for a while. I hope that's true, right? I hope they did know for a while and were able to prep in some way. It doesn't feel like it because the release of this is all very janky, and I have many ideas for how this could have been done better, because this is very odd. But it is true that this is going to be a grieving process in some way, right? Grieving doesn't always have to be when someone is dying. It can also just be losing something. And then he says, and I know some of you are angry, some of you don't want to accept it, some of you might even hate me, and some of you are just upset. So again, this provides this view that this was not a clean break. Maybe the boys didn't know for as long as we might think, and clearly this isn't something that was talked over well. He also says this line, "You're all very entertaining, so don't think otherwise," seemed very odd to put in there, but I genuinely don't think there's malice behind that. Other people might read into it like that. I just think JJ is incredibly rash and says some things that come off wrong. So again, that statement from him is weird, right? And then his editor, Mo, releases a tweet that is very odd, and again, shifting the narrative of what KSI was trying to say about needing a break and making it more about content. His editor says, "The fastest way to grow in 2026 isn't staying in the same circle doing the same collabs. Most creators spend years only making content for the same audience. We're showing that real growth comes from building bridges into completely different worlds. From football to cricket, from the UK to India, from YouTubers to icons like Sidemen Gill and Amir Khan. That's how you create global audiences, not just bigger numbers." So in this tweet, KSI's editor and main person behind his content says something along the lines of, you need to leave the same circles that you've been in and expand in order to grow. Which of course makes sense, right? No shit. Of course it makes sense to have a broader audience and transcend your boundaries and content. But again, this shifts the excuse that basically was him leaving the Sidemen for additional time with his family, and now it's framing it more so like he's doing this for his content. Which, by the way, for the record, I don't like his content. I genuinely think a lot of people don't, at least the core fans. And I guess that's the whole point, right? That is the whole point. Your actual fans are not enjoying the type of content that you are making. Many people have compared it to very generic Mr. Beast ideas, and yes, you are going to attract more people. You are going to get bigger numbers with it, higher monetization, of course, and if that's what you want, then so be it. And it is starting to feel like that is the real reason why KSI left. And we've seen it. I mean, he's posted the numbers on his YouTube channel on that consistent growth that he's been getting. Again, I don't enjoy that content. I think it's very generic to that Mr. Beast like style where yes, it's going to do numbers, but the real fans, the people who really like you as a person, aren't really with what you're doing. But if that's what you want to do, again, it's fine, but don't push the narrative of, oh, I want to spend more time with my family and my loved ones, when the reality is you're doing this for your own personal career. And that's where I kind of want to circle back to KSI's ego. I think that he has always had it, right? It's no surprise to fans, it's no surprise to anyone who has seen anything of his that he has some sort of ego, and don't get me wrong, that goes a long way, right? In terms of your career and pushing you forward and that drive, that motivation to keep going. But when you start focusing on the numbers, right, which it seemed like he had, the numbers, the money that you were making, the subscribers, it is straying away from what made you who you are and what people really loved about you. What's interesting to me is that I remembered an old clip where he said his crowning achievement for the past 10 years was the Sidemen staying together.
Saw some of the things that we're proud of in the last 10 years. So, what is one thing in the last 10 years you're most proud of?
I think for me, it's us being together for 10 years. Honestly, like, groups don't last this long. Yeah, like, to have 7 people with different mindsets or personalities to stay together for this long is insane.
And so I think that at least in that moment, he had a clear mind, right? Because of all the things to achieve, the Sidemen being together for 10 plus years and making all of the amazing content they did, doing all the great things they did, transcending the YouTube scene, working with Netflix, raising millions of dollars for charity, selling out Wembley Stadium. Like, that is special. And so at one point in time, that being your greatest achievement, and then you decide to leave, I think it goes to show how your priorities shift. And again, KSI has always been trying to evolve, trying to push the boundaries of how great and how big he can go, and always trying to create the best version of himself possible. We've seen it with boxing, and honestly, I think the fact that boxing is gone from his life now has left a bit of a hole for him, because that was a very competitive and adrenaline high thing where you have this great moment of achievement, and I think without that, he is now trying to seek other ways to get that new high. I think it's also worth mentioning that Simon recorded like a little vlog for the Soccer Aid thing, which, by the way, I think KSI dropped that announcement when Toby and Ethan were at Soccer Aid, which is a huge achievement for them and big moment, so it's a little odd that he dropped it then, and Simon recorded this vlog where he says, yeah, I didn't know the video was going out today, or KSI's video.
I mean, you may have seen the news that has just been dropped. I didn't know that video was going out now, so I'm expecting a lot of people to just ask me about that. So it is Sunday the 31st, and I am going to Soccer Aid, not to play, no. I'm going to support Ethan, Toby, and Ginge, as well as, you know, everyone else there, charity, etc.
Again, just goes to show how poorly coordinated this was, and how maybe the other Sidemen boys weren't aware of what was going to happen. Dude, and people are not vibing with this at all. Like, the fans are 100% against KSI on this. I think they're smelling through the bullshit and just kind of seeing that, well, it doesn't seem like your true intentions are really what you're saying. But here's what I think KSI should have done. Two options here, all right? Option A is reduce the time. Reduce the time with the Sidemen. You know, you don't have to leave, but they've already shown that you don't need all 7 members in a video, in more Sidemen videos, in Sidemen Reacts, whatever. They've got like a jillion channels, but the point is, you don't need to be fully committed, and you haven't been fully committed. So him saying, well, I feel like I can't give my best, the truth of the matter is you haven't been giving your best to them for a long time now, but that was okay. You know, the group doesn't need all 7 members all of the time, especially because they know and have been pretty flexible with his schedule with, you know, you do your own thing, we're here, and the Sidemen were this core that you could always come back to and was kind of like this central hub. And so even though he wasn't always there, he was still part of the group, and it was perfectly okay. And I think he could have even taken a step back further, and it would have been perfectly fine. You know, you don't have to cut them off. If you want some extra time to focus on your other interests, that's cool, man. You know, I think that time off would have been fine, and fans would have been okay with it. Option B is what really should have happened, okay? Because if you're going to leave, cool, it should not have gone down like this. He should have gotten a proper send-off, and I think what that means is he probably should have communicated with them earlier that he was going to leave and stick it out for a little bit, even if you're like, ugh, I want to do my own thing. Because a proper send-off would have been appreciated by everybody. I think it would have been more understandable, and you probably could have fleshed out your feelings a little bit more, because this just feels incredibly rushed and messy. So yeah, man, have a last few weeks or just week of videos, and you know, a couple more Sidemen vids, have a GTA special, an Among Us special, and then a Sidemen Sunday where it's like a going away party. Would have been fine, man. I think people talking about it in a real way and doing it rather than, oh, my last video is like this random real life Among Us or whatever they just put out, and this half-baked message to the guys and also to the fans, and cryptic Instagram posts, and it's just all very odd. I think having a proper send-off, people would have understood, and I think you probably could have fleshed out your feelings a bit better than you did. The fact of the matter is, KSI has a tendency to post things pretty rashly and without really thinking about it, and later regretting what he posts. This has happened on numerous occasions, and obviously this is more than just a singular post, it's about a decision, but he also does those rashly and without a lot of thought, and so I think this is another example, and unfortunately it's his biggest decision yet. So overall, man, just really weird. I think KSI has handled this in a very strange way. It's been incredibly unorganized and seems really messy. Doesn't seem like the break was smooth at all, and I have a feeling it is because he's lying about his true intentions. Even if there's some truth to it, right? Even if there's some truth to what you're saying, if you're doing all of this other shit, then your priorities probably aren't clear. But it doesn't seem like the Sidemen were super aware of what was happening, what was going to happen, and they didn't have a proper plan how to make the break smooth. So yeah, just super odd. I think KSI is being dishonest here. I think the Sidemen were unsure what to do with the situation, and it's a shame, to be honest with you. As someone who has loved the group and enjoyed watching for many years, it is odd, very odd to see it end this way. So we'll see what happens, but thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Looking for sun rays, needing them good days. Fly me away, away, you're my holiday. Cool like the ocean, lost in emotion. Fly me away.